What's up guys, John here. It is now illegal to rent out your home in Los Angeles County unless you tell the government exactly how much you're renting out your home for, you pay an annual fine, and you register.
Every house that comes on the market, if it even comes on the market, gets 15 applications in the first day.
For any listing that I see doing this, I'm reporting it. It's disgusting. And we should be helping our community, and agents, you need to advise your clients to not gouge.
And if you don't, you're not legally allowed to collect rent on your own personal property. You start to think about how far we've come the last 3, 4, 5 years. It is scary. And I personally think that this is just going to get harder in Los Angeles. I've been talking about this for a long time. You know, I had a rental property there. I ended up selling it about 3 years ago because I thought that we're going to see a different type of economy, to say the very least, in Los Angeles.
California limits rent increases to 10% a year.
Governor Gavin Newsom signed several new laws requiring cities and counties to better plan for housing for very low-income people.
The wildfires have created a much bigger housing crisis in LA.
And that is now what's unfolding. Now, what I find shocking is that top real estate agents in Beverly Hills and in these areas have comprised the list of 2,000 houses. They are giving this list to the government so the government can go after these property owners because they believe that the property owners are asking too much money for rent for their own personal property.
There's over 2,000 units just on this list of people who had different prices late December, and now they are higher in January.
Now you start to look at this. There's even one, Jason from Selling Sunset saying that this is like a famine, and you can't increase prices during a famine.
The market isn't free in a disaster. Now, it's no different than if you're in a famine.
Now, let's look at this clearly. Would you call this a famine, or would you call this pushing forward a moral compass on someone else's property, their property rights, and their life's work, right? If someone's gonna pay more for someone else's property, that is between the property owner and the tenant. That is who that is between. That is between supply and demand. If the prices will go up due to increased demand, then they should go up. If they will go down due to a flooding of supply, then they should go down. In a free market economy, the market should determine the value, not the government and the people that are trying to control the housing market, which now are these real estate agents. Now, what's shocking to me is real estate agents have a fiduciary duty to the seller to get them the highest and best price for their home. Now, with this new moral compass, this new code of, I would go more along the lines of saying a new political code that is an unspoken belief that all real estate agents and people now move in, especially in Los Angeles, to where it's like the greater good. You have to do this because of the greater good. And that's what's happening. That's what's happening. There's this political ideology and way of looking at the world that has been formed in the last few years it's slowly but surely encroaching on our freedom, liberty, and property rights. And that's even more true in a place like Los Angeles. Now, you just start to kind of look at how fast this is moving. It's scary. When you have insurance that's about to explode in Los Angeles, I promise you, home insurance is going to go through the roof. And then you have the real estate agents saying that you can't increase your rent. And the government now is saying that you must tell us what you are renting out your home for. You start to ask yourself, well, what's going to happen when premiums go up? The owners are going to eat it. And they're not able to increase their prices to offset these costs. Now, to me, this is a scary situation. This goes way beyond, doing things for the greater good. This goes into stealing someone else's money, stealing their wealth, stealing their property rights, stealing their life's work. And that's what's happening right now. And these real estate agents are the ones that they're incentivizing this theft of everything, this theft of property rights and wealth. Now, some people say, look, John, that is the wrong way of looking at this. People have lost their homes. And I would say, that is true. People have lost their homes And if there's something that I could personally do to help, I would. I would help. But one thing I wouldn't do is I wouldn't see one person lose their home and say, look, we should take other people's homes, take their property because of this. I would definitely not do something like that. And that's now what's being incentivized. And I think we're only, we're in the beginning stages of this. Look at all these homes. You're starting to see a really big shift of people just relocating out of cities. And I think we're going to see, big cities like LA, New York City, San Francisco, due to high prices. But I think the next big push is people are going to be relocating because they're going to need to. Like, their property rights are going to continue to erode, and it's going to be harder and harder to do business in places like Los Angeles. And they're just going to continue to move around. I mean, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, nobody would have ever imagined anything like what we're seeing right now. It would have never happened. People would be like, it would never have been on the cards. But now, you just start to think about how fast the world's changing. And went from moratoriums in 2020 to now property owners need to register their properties with the government, and real estate agents, top real estate agents, that are selling collectively many billions of dollars in property every single year, now reporting these property owners to the government so that the government can go after them with public counsel and BASTA. These tenant advocacy networks that go after landlords that are funded by taxpayers. So the taxpayer, which is the wealthy, they're funding a large chunk of taxes. The taxpayer is funding an organization to go back after the property owners, and the real estate agents who are commissioned and survive off of these commissions are ratting out the property owners. It's scary. Like, it's scary. I myself, you would never, ever see me, if I was a real estate agent in Beverly Hills and everyone's like, John, you got to be a part of this. We got to do what's right. I'm like, look, what's right is staying out of other people's business and not being a little snitch and telling on other property owners. That's their property. They do what they want with it. That's not my business, right? I would never be a part of something like that. And to see all these real estate agents saying, yeah, we gotta do what's right. What's right is telling on other people and seeing them getting sued. That's not right, right? It's disgusting. And now this is kind of a part of the world we're all moving into in LA. It's a sad situation because I love Los Angeles. Like, when I moved to LA and became a real estate agent and doing deals and building my network, it was the best thing ever. I was really, really young. I was, in my early 20s, and just, it was an incredible learning experience that it was shaped who I am today. But now when you start to see how fast this is changing, I saw this years ago, and I told some of my friends, yeah, I'm leaving LA because of all this, and I think it's going to get a lot worse. I think I'm better off selling now. Some of them thought, maybe I was being a little extreme. Maybe John, he's missing the boat on this one. But now looking at it, I don't think so. I think I was right on the money, and I think that we're just going to start to see the extreme shift in the economy grow more and more and more for Los Angeles. And we're going to see more property owners forced to sell, more businesses going under, and to see all this kind of getting fueled, instigated by what happened, last couple weeks. At least that's the excuse of it. I don't know. Like, you just start to think about it. Imagine one person loses their stuff, and they say the solution is for other people to lose their stuff, or to compromise, to sacrifice for the other people that lost their stuff, right? In what world is that the right approach? I don't see it. It doesn't make any logical sense to me, but that's my belief. I would never, ever in a million years see it another way. See it where for example, if I lost my home or my car, I would not expect the neighbor next door to let me borrow their car Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to offset my car loss. I wouldn't. I would say, I need to work and buy another car. I need to get a bus pass. I need to move near Metro. I need to figure it out. If I lost my home, it'd be the same thing. There would be no way I would say, look, hey, I lost my house. You got to rent me your house at a lower rate, or a rate in which you were renting it out for in the past to offset for my loss. I would not do that. I wouldn't have that expectation on society or other people. It's not how the real world works. But that's how this new crazy world is being formed. And it's sad. It's sad. I'm telling you, the property rights situation is going to get a lot worse in LA. It's going to get so much worse. And this situation that unfolded the last few weeks is going to be the fuel for it. It's going to continue to push this forward and push this forward. So if you do own property, make sure in Los Angeles, make sure you're protecting yourself. If I were you, I'd hop on a call with like an attorney and just get some free advice and see what changes are coming in your area, and if there's anything that you should be looking out for. What they were saying here in one of these interviews is that, yeah, what a tenant will do is they'll likely, let's say if the house is or it was listed for in the past for like 10 grand a month, and now the landlord listed it for 20, they'll move in, they'll sign the lease, then they'll get a tenant advocacy network to sue the property owner for the difference plus legal fees. So it's like this bait and switch type of thing. So yeah, and if you have ever hired an attorney in LA, you're looking at $300 to $500 an hour. And these tenant advocacy networks, what they'll do is they drag it out for 3 to 6 to 9 months. They just accrue more and more legal fees. They try to take it to jury trial, and it's not a jury of the landlord's peers, it's a jury of the tenant's peers in most cases. Even if the tenant is a wealthy individual, they don't care, because the tenant will support, the political ideology of Los Angeles County and of tenants. So the landlord will likely get taken to the cleaners. So if you're a property owner, you should, in my advice, you should just make sure your T's are crossed and I's are dotted, and make sure that you'll be protected. And if you are a real estate agent, my advice would be in Los Angeles County to not tell on anyone and to not push forward a moral compass on other people's property rights. Again, like, I wish there's something I could personally do if I lived in that area. I'm not saying I'd rent my house for free or even at former market rate. I personally would rent what the market would support, just like I would if I had a car. If the market would support a higher price for my car, I would sell it for a higher price. Just like anything, like literally every industry in the world economy is set based on supply and demand and the market, right? Every single item that you buy and sell is based on that. So, I don't know, crazy times. Let's have a conversation about this below. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think it's right to tell on other people and try to get them in trouble by the government for renting out your home at market value or at what the market would support? I don't know. I think it's a scary time we're walking into. Let's have a conversation below, and consider subscribing if you want to know what's really happening in Los Angeles. You want to know what's really unfolding in the U.S. economy. And catch you next video.